Okay, chapter 6 is more about fractions and using fractions and other types of fractions called ratios to solve problems like percent problems and percent change and solving proportion and things like that. We're going to apply this concepts of fractions to find answers to problems. So, in your notes, the first type of fraction we're going to talk about is called a ratio. And unlike a fraction where you have the number of parts over the total, where it's comparing the same thing, a ratio compares two different things to show which one is bigger, which one is more. Okay? So if we were to say the fraction of boys in 7th grade, we would, there's 13 out of 22? 23. So we would say that it's 13 out of 23 total students. 13 is the number of boys compared to the total number of students. That's a fraction of the boys. That's what we're talking about in that case. What fraction of the boys are, what fraction of the students are boys? All right? However, if we were to write the answer comparing the number of boys to the number of girls in the class, you wouldn't put the total on the bottom. You would put the number of boys on the top line as the numerator, and then the number of girls on the bottom line. So that would be 13 to 10. 13 boys to, or the fraction bar, 10 girls. And it's comparing two different things then. Common ratios that you're familiar with are miles, comparing the number of miles you can go on using the number of gallons to get there. Miles over gallons. Okay? Or the price of something and how much you get from it. Or the number of feet you can travel in a minute or a second. Those are all ratios comparing two different things. Okay? Hours and minutes is a ratio. Minutes, there's 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Okay? All of those conversion factors that we've done before are all ratios. Anytime you have different labels on the top line and the bottom line, you're working with a ratio. So give me another example of ratios. Alex?
Dogs to cats?
Okay, if you compare the number of dogs to the number of cats in your neighborhood or households and things like that. Yep. Brett?
Like tons to, I don't know, miles?
Pounds.
Pounds, whatever.
Yeah. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. Or 2,000 pounds equals a ton. Now, one thing that you can do with ratios is you can flip them around depending on the subject that you want to compare.
Yeah.
All right? You could compare the number of tons to the number of pounds, or you could flip them over and compare the number of pounds to the number of tons.
Yeah.
Okay. Daria?
You could do people wearing, oh no, I was going to say t-shirts, or like long t-shirts to hoodies.
Sure. Yep. Shirts to hoodies. Okay.
1,
Yep.
2,
Like, and
All right. The number of pike caught versus the number of muskie caught in a lake. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, the rate that you're finding, the rate is the amount used to compare the other the other amount compared to the other amount needed. So, in other words, if you were traveling and you wanted to know how many gallons of gas you would take to get a certain distance, you would have to find the number of miles you can travel on a gallon of gas. That's the rate. A common rate is miles per hour, isn't it?
Yeah.
miles over hours. That's a rate we understand because it's a speed. We measure speed in miles per hour. Okay? And it's also called a unit rate. The unit rate is the amount used for every one of the other amount. And you find that by dividing. So for example, if you went 105 miles and used 7 gallons of gas, then you know that you got 15 miles per gallon. Your rate that you consumed the gas was 15 miles per gallon. And you found it by dividing 105 by 7. Or if you traveled 250 miles in 5 hours, then your average unit rate of 250 miles in 5 hours is what? If you take away the zeros, or take away the, if you do divide the numbers, 25 divided by 5 is 5, and then you add the 0, so 250 divided by 5 is 50.
Oh yeah.
So you're averaging 50 miles per hour as an average rate. So that's the difference between a rate. Rates can compare a number over another number, and they don't have to be 1. You could say that the rate was 250 miles in 5 hours. Okay? But the unit rate refers to how far you could go in 1 hour. That unit refers to how many you can get in one of the other. Alright, does that make sense? By dividing, you can find the unit rate. Okay? Do you need to see me? Okay. Alright, open up your books and do this first assignment that we talked about. It won't be graded, but it's 294, 2 through 22 evens. Even. Yep, 2 to 22 evens. Tomorrow. It's all about rates and unit rates.
Even.